then all of us people in the United States could claim it for our religion and just get it done like that. That would be amazing. But anyways, you want to talk about that little thing I found in this magazine?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about that.
Okay.
Well, I was hanging out in a dispensary, and I was reading a magazine, Denver 20, Marijuana Life magazine. It's free. Medicinal marijuana, the love of art, we'll burn one out, Vaporfest, 2000 series. Yeah, it's just one of those. I mean, how many of these magazines have you seen now around town?
Maybe you should show them the cover instead of the title.
Sorry, I'm only reading it. And
beautiful.
all right.
So.
Well, anyways, it's a good magazine. I think it's a cool magazine, but I think they need to be a little bit more specific in some of their information, as does everyone in the medical marijuana community and world. It says here, you can grow your own even if you have a primary caregiver. That's true. I agree with that. But it says little known and often misunderstood. Registering someone as your primary caregiver does not prohibit you from growing your own weed. In fact, you are recommended to grow your own to help offset the price of your meds and to ensure you get the quality and consistency. If you know how to grow weed. A primary caregiver by law has significant responsibility to manage your well-being. If you feel that you are not getting the care, blah, blah, blah. Cultivation, possession, use, distributed, marijuana remains federal crime. Okay. Marijuana use. Basically, it just says you're allowed to, cultivate up to 6 plants with no more than 3 being mature or flowering. There's no defense allocated for federal prosecution. A primary caregiver can grow up 6 plants on your behalf as well. You and your caregiver both can legally possess up to 2 ounces and 6 plants with no more mature. That's just not true.
Definitely not.
So, yeah.
Do you have the law in front of you?
I do, and this has been pretty much since the beginning of medical marijuana in Colorado, or since they established the caregiver. The 2 main guidelines that they have set forth regarding caregivers are that you can only have 1 at a time, and they cannot grow more than your limit. That means that you and your caregiver combined cannot grow or possess over your limit, which is 2 ounces of usable or smokable marijuana and 6 plants. 3 in bloom at a time. So that's total. And we have the exact wording here. So this is, if I knew how to read legal papers, I would let you know what section it is, but it's under like
section something.
2A Roman numeral 3. So it says the patient and his or her primary caregiver were collectively in possession of amounts of marijuana only as permitted under this section. So that pretty much means it has to be the 6 plants altogether. Per card, 2 ounces per card. That does not mean you can each have 6 plants. And that also brings up another concern that has been going on lately with doctors prescribing, quote unquote, more than 6 plants for their patients because they say that they need them for edibles or whatever. Which we can totally understand that. It does take a lot of medicine to create your edibles, and if you have chronic pain that necessitates edibles, kind of need a lot to maintain that.
That's a big stinking rumor. Because
that is a huge rumor.
Because you've worked in a dispensary, so have I. How many of those cards? But you never saw any of those cards. Multiple plant.
Oh no, I've seen them.
I've got one.
The paperwork.
I have a patient who's got 10 plants on his card, but. I mean, he's got a very serious, brain condition. He just got out of brain surgery last week again. I don't know. The law says 6 plants.
Yeah, well, pretty much.
But the law also says unless your doctor writes down that you need more. It is in there. I've read it. See if you can find it.
I don't have the full thing here, but basically what it is even if your doctor, quote unquote, prescribes them, you're still not protected under the law. What you can do is you can go in with an affirmative defense, but that is after the fact, after you've been caught with too many plants. This is what Barkowitz tried to do too when he was caught with too many plants, is he tried pulling the affirmative defense, which states that your patients or you need that extra medicine. There's no way to really prove that unless, the easiest way to get away with that, and not necessarily get away with that, but didn't mean that in such a negative tone. But the easiest way to make sure that your affirmative defense will work is to keep a journal documented of your daily use, what you use for your recipes, how much you're using per day, to show that that's necessary. When you take that into the judge, hopefully they'll feel sympathetic, and they will understand that. But it's all based on the judge. You might be in a really crappy county where that's not going to happen for you.
It's better to just pay attention to the law and just try to have 6 plants. But it says 6 plants total, and like when this magazine says you and your caregiver can grow, that's true. So let's say I'm like my patient Ray, who was on earlier. If Ray wanted to grow for himself, he could. But if he's growing 3 plants, that means I can only grow 3 plants if I'm growing for Ray specifically. So he can grow and I can grow, but the total of Ray's plants equals to 6 plants total. Yeah. And the law is very specific by saying that your plants have to be half in veg, half in flower. Cops don't know anything about horticulture and don't know what the hell veg and flower means. So really it's more of a plant count. And clones are a plant if it has roots. Yep. Okay? So if you have a little clone box, even if you've got 6 plants and you want 6 more coming up and you cut 6 more down, now you've got 12. You're double over the limit. It's illegal. Be careful.
Yeah, and basically what you can suggest... Sorry, just lost what I was saying. What's suggested when you're growing your 6 plants is you can grow those plants hella big. And I know that you only have your 2-ounce limit, but if you can grow and store those plants upside down and just take off, harvest a little bit at a time, it still counts as a plant and not towards your 2-ounce limit. But then you can't grow another plant in the place.
Right.
So they don't distinguish dead plants from living plants.
Don't grow 6 little plants that bud this big, because then that's how much medicine you're going to have. Grow 6 plants that are huge
like
so
bushes.
That you can have, you know what I mean, but be careful because you're only allowed to have 2 ounces, so any more medicine over your 2-ounce limit is too much medicine legally.
And then it looks like we had a question here. Would you get in trouble if your caregiver grew more than 6 plants and you had 6 plants? Who would be punished for that? And I'm not too sure.
It's on your property.
Yes.
So look, if you're a patient and you've got 7 plants and you're only supposed to have 6, you've got 1 plant over.
I think the question was more if you're as a patient, you were doing what you thought was right, and then your caregiver accidentally went over. If you talked to him and said I'm going to have my 4, can you grow my other 2? But they end up growing
here's what the
4 or
judge
6.
would say. The judge is really concerned about patient-caregiver relationships, and if there was any confusion in that, the judge would say, so if you're providing care for this person you care about, this patient of yours, their medicine, wouldn't you have had that kind of communication? Because you should, because it is going to come down to that. I've been to all of my patients' homes, and they've all been to my home. You know what I mean? We have a relationship with each other. We know how many I'm growing in my house, how many he's growing in his house. You got to have it like that. But anyways.
Yeah.
Do you want to go to a commercial before we come back with our next guest?
Yes, I think that sounds like a good idea. We'll cut to commercial real quick, and then we have another Skype caller coming in.
We'll take the Skype caller right after this commercial break, then?
Yes.
Okay, we'll
do
that.
So we'll see you in a few.
Commercial break.
Maybe.
Go, now. Do it.
Don't fade away. We'll be right back with more medicinalmarijuana.tv.
52